Hello YouTube. I had some problems recording with my last video that I recorded of this, so I'm kind of starting in the middle of it. But basically what you did with this, for the barrel, you just took a sheet of paper and you rolled it long ways, like that. And then for the bottom piece, you rolled a really tight tube long ways. And then you cut it to about 6 inches in length. And then you took a spacer tube and cut it to about 4.5 inches of length. Then you just taped them all together. And the reason for the spacer tube is to both keep the barrels together and to stop the slide when it's going back. So now continuing, now that we have this piece right here, what you're going to do is you're going to want to make the slide. So all you have to do is you take this piece right here and you roll it up inside another piece of paper. Alright, so there we go, we got it rolled up in our piece of paper right there. And now you're just going to tape it. Let's see where I put my other Scotch tape. Oh, there it is. Alright, so we got the basics of our slide here. Now make sure that your barrels move smoothly inside there, because this is going to be moving back and forth. So now what you're going to do is you're going to cut it down to length in proportion to your tube. So what you're going to need is to figure out how long you want your slide. Now personally I might want to cut mine right about there. And let's see if it works. So just fit your barrels in there to check and see where you want it. Okay, so there we go. The blow tube is still visible, which is good. And when you pull back the slide, it'll stop right about there. And even though the blow tube is not visible, that's fine because you don't really need it to be in the back position. So there we go. Now what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to figure out where you want your ejection port, which is the hole at the top of the gun right here. So now what you're going to need to do is put the slide in the rear position, which it might help you to make the stopper. And I'll show you how to make that real quick. Take a piece of paper and fold it really thinly, like say about 1 centimeter in width, like that. And then fold it about, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 times just to make it tough. Make sure it's thin though, because otherwise you're going to have to cut it and then it's going to rip and it's not going to turn out so great. And then just cut this piece out. So now you have something like this. Now you don't need to tape this together, because all you're going to do is take your barrels, or slide I should say, and you're just going to put it over the front, like that. Now all this is doing is it's going over the front of the slide so it stops the barrels from going all the way out the front. So now what you do is you take your Scotch tape, alright, so you can tape it more than this, which I think I'm going to do, because I'd like it to be really streamlined with the gun. You don't have to, of course, you could just tape it once, but I'm just going to do this for better quality. So there we go. We got this. Now, make sure that your barrels move smoothly through it, and if they don't, all you have to do is take your scissors and cut little triangles on either end of the gun to make it so that the tubes could fit better through. Now, be warned, this is why I said to make your piece thin. So if you want to go back and make a thinner piece and put it on, I suggest doing so. Because if you cut triangles like this, there's a possibility of it ripping down the center. And then you're going to have to tape it, and it's going to look all weird. And that's what happened with my first one, but it's fine. So, here we go. Put the barrels in again. Alright. And there we go. So just test it a few times to see if it works. Alright, so now you have the basics of your slide there. And what you're going to need to do is, in order for you to put a handle on it, you're going to cut down the center, or the bottom of it. Make sure it's the bottom. Like right now, this is the bottom of the gun, alright? I'm cutting on the bottom of the gun. Be sure not to cut into your tube, because otherwise it's not going to work out too well. And stop about an inch before the bottom one. So you could either just leave this open or cut it. I'm going to choose to cut mine a bit wider now. Alright. Now for the ejection port. Speaking of ejection ports, if you want me to make a magazine-fed and shell ejecting version of this, I can do so, but I'll need you guys to comment for that, because I'm not sure if you guys will want that or not. But for the ejection port, you're going to put your slide in the back position, and you're going to find where the bottom thing stops right here, alright? So this is where your handle is going to be like right here, alright? So what you're going to do is going to put the ejection port right where your trigger would go. So now that we have it like this, let's see, I think I'll want the ejection port to be like right at the end of this. So move it into the back position, cut a piece about an inch long. Like I said, if you don't know what an inch is, it's about like 2.5 centimeters. For all you Europeans out there. Alright, so we got ourselves an ejection port right here. Now when you move it forward, it will be covered, and when you move it back, there will be an open space. So what you're going to want to do is pull your barrels out and see where you've cut your ejection port beforehand. And if they are not showing up, just simply put your barrels back in. Not that hard to do. Alright, so go in there, and where your ejection port would be, remember to keep your slide in the rear position if you want your ejector port. And simply make very defined cuts on where the ejector port is supposed to be. Alright, take your barrels out. So now we know where our ejector port's going to be. It's going to be here and here. So make the cutting. Be sure not to cut too far, otherwise you're going to have a pretty interesting ejector port. And you're going to want... Come on, you can cut scissors. Go in there. Alright. I might make a part 2 of this because it's going to be so lengthy. In fact, let me check the time. Oh yeah, it's about 10 minutes. I'm going to stop it right after this piece right here. So, no, we got that. Pull out any junk that's in there. Alright, get your scissors, and you just smooth it out a little bit. And if you can't manage to get smooth because you may have like cut into the layers, all you have to do is take a piece of Scotch tape, go in with it, and press into the curves. Make sure it's not flat. And there we go, we got yourselves an ejection port. So just to give you a little preview, this is what it looks like with the slide in the rear position. And then this is what it looks like with the slide in the forward position. So look for part 2, and then I'll continue it there.